got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That bell bites hard, but it don't get the crown. Hold on, stay with me now.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports. Friday, May 22nd. 2-0 on the show yesterday. This run is now 91, 38, and 5 over 48 days. I'm telling you, it is unsustainable. We're probably going to go 0-3 tonight. I'm going to give out 3 plays. They're all MLB totals. That's what I have tonight. Last night, easy winners on both. We won with the Montreal Canadiens. They won. I mean, they were winning 4-1 later in the game. They got a little bit outplayed. I'm fairly certain that I'm going to be looking to give out a play, zigzagging that thing on Carolina in Game 2. A couple of things I forgot to mention about that handicap. Well, first of all, Montreal did win. They won 6-2, but they had at least one empty net goal at the end. It got like kind of insane here. My beard is out of control, man. That game got a little bit out of control at the end, but Carolina outshot Montreal in the game. Some of it was because they were losing and you take a lot of shots in desperation and whatever, but I think it was a little bit of a misleading result. Although Montreal won the game, we got it right. A couple of things I forgot to mention, though. Montreal swept the season series against them 3-0, which I don't think I mentioned on this show. I mentioned it on my Instagram video. So that was another thing that factored in, although I think Carolina actually outplayed them in the most recent 2 regular season meetings. So I think that was a little bit misleading. Like, I don't think Montreal, like, I saw ESPN, is Montreal Carolina's kryptonite? They can't beat them. I don't think that's the case. I still think Carolina's probably going to win the series. But, plus that was a spot play where Carolina had way too much time off. So we did get that one right. The other things I forgot to mention, Carolina has been awful in the conference final series, so it's not definitive they are going to win it. They had lost 6 conference final game 1s in a row. Now it's 7, so I forgot to mention that. I got the record wrong, by the way. Montreal was actually 6-2 on the road in the playoffs. Now they're 7-2 on the road in the playoffs, so I got that a little bit wrong. I mentioned on my Instagram video, Carolina they've scored more than 3 goals in the playoffs only one time. So this Carolina team is not putting up a lot of offense, and the most they scored was 4, and they only did that once. So that's a little bit of a crazy stat as well. Good for playing an underdog against them, even though I'm thinking of giving out Carolina in the next game tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to, but I'm going to figure it out. And there was one other thing. Oh, yeah, there was one other stat with Carolina. I think they've now lost 10 home games in a row in the conference finals as well. I think that's what the stat was. So a lot of it was because they can't beat the Florida Panthers, and they had to play them, I think, the last 2 conference final series they were in. But still, that's not good. Carolina's been awful in this round of the playoffs. But again, they get a better matchup this time. They're playing a team that's worse than they are, a team that has way less experience. They're going up against a rookie goalie, so I don't want to spend this much time talking about that one matchup, but still, I'm just mad I forgot to mention some of those other stats yesterday because that's all crazy. That made that handicap even stronger, I suppose. And then we won on the New York Knicks. I don't really have a lot to say about that. I think my handicap was correct on the side there. I mean, they pulled away easily, won easily in the second half. The only thing was I thought the game was going to be higher scoring. It was a lot lower scoring than I expected, but some of it I think was because the Knicks had pretty much an insurmountable lead, and then when that happens, the team kind of slows the game down a bit. Although the Knicks have had such offensive explosions during the playoffs, I was kind of thinking that was going to be one of those games, but they still covered anyway. Tyson, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. Yeah, I mean, the goal every day is just to win, not necessarily to sweep. We're going to try to go 2-1 today with these baseball totals. We have an afternoon baseball game because it's Wrigley Field, Houston at Chicago. This is on Apple TV. This is, Wrigley has a lot of afternoon baseball because it's historic. Wrigley, I think, was like the last stadium to add lights, so they were always playing daytime games, even into like the 80s and 90s. The Cubs are clearly the better team here, but I don't know necessarily about this matchup here. Cubs have lost 5 straight games. They just got swept at home by Milwaukee. The Cubs are definitely better than this, though. Milwaukee is a good team. You got to think the Cubs should be in bounce-back mode at some point. Both of these teams had yesterday off, by the way. So both teams are rested, which when I talk about rest, I talk about unders typically, because I think the offenses might go out of rhythm a little bit with a day off, and the bullpens are rested at least. Houston is coming off, what did I just do? I think I just closed too many tabs? No, maybe I didn't. Houston I believe they just lost to Minnesota in that series. Houston's got a really bad bullpen. They're worst in baseball, even though they are rested. Cubs have a much better bullpen at 8th. Cubs have the better offense as well, 5th. Houston has fallen off offensively a bit too. They're at 10th now. So the Cubs are the better team all around. I think it's kind of a matter of what about the starting pitching matchup. Spencer Arrighetti is pitching for Houston. He's been their most reliable starter. He's got good numbers, 1.5 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's been a bit worse on the road, but 2.3 ERA is not exactly bad. He's been good in that he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start. He's allowed 1 or fewer in all but 1 start. Houston's won 5 of his 6 outings. The problem is his walk number is really, really high. So I think he's getting a little bit lucky here. Like, I think his ERA should be probably in the mid-3s. He's allowed very few hits, so that's good. But his walk number is crazy. He's walking more than 1 guy every 2 innings. That is bad. And his strikeout rate is fine. It's almost 1 per inning. So that's all good. But even if you look at this month, 14 to 12 strikeout walk ratio, 3 or more walks in every outing. Yeah, he's been pretty unhittable, but you cannot issue that many free passes and continue to get away with it, And the Cubs are a good lineup. He's got bad numbers against them as well. 17 at bats, not a big sample though. 294 average allowed, 839 OPS, 5-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't know if I love Arrighetti here. He's going up against Jameson Taillon, who has been decent. He's got a 4.97 ERA, which doesn't look that good. 1.2 whip is not bad, though. I think his ERA should probably be lower than it is. He's been good at home, 3.63 home ERA, significantly better than on the road. His numbers are being skewed a bit. His last outing, he gave up 5 home runs at the White Sox. That was really bad. The question that needs to be answered is, was that a fluke or is he out of form right now? I don't know, man. I mean, his prior 2 starts were both fine. He allowed 2 or fewer earned runs there. He's allowed more than 3 earned runs only 3 times this season. His numbers overall are fine. Like he's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. His strikeout rate is a little bit low. He's not really a huge strikeout pitcher. His walk rate is a little bit high, but it's not that bad. Overall, I don't think his numbers are bad. His numbers against Houston, though, that's where we run into a problem. Houston, we have a problem. 53 at-bats against them, 340 batting average allowed, 930 OPS. That's obviously not good. 4-2 strikeout walk ratio. So, situation, I think, favors the Cubs here. And the Cubs are mostly the better team here, but the starting pitching matchup looks like it does kind of slightly indicate in the Houston direction here. If you're going to go Houston with this, I think you got to go first five only because you do not want their bullpen. As far as the numbers here, Houston is getting the money, 54% of tickets, 71% of the cash. I don't want to do that either. The Cubs are about minus 140 or so. I think they are in a bounce back spot at the very least, and they do have the better offense and bullpen here. And the starting pitching matchup, I think you could at least debate it a little bit. Houston probably does have a slight edge there. I'm not going to play the game. The total's at 7, which probably means wind is blowing in a bit in Wrigley, I would imagine. Money coming in towards the under. I would not want to do that. Both starting pitchers don't have good matchup numbers here, and Houston's bullpen is really bad, so I think there are more indicators towards an over in this game. But when the total's that low, it's that low for a reason. So, Saab, what's up? 4-1 the last 2 days. Yeah, but that loser was on a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 5th, and that full game went under. It was bullshit. That should have been a win, too. There's no way it's going to be a 10-0 run, man. I'm on a 37-7 run right now, by the way, though. 37-7-1, and I believe the more recent run here is I'm going to figure it out right now because based on my old banners that I have in here, I'm also on a 16-2 run recently as well. But yeah, obviously that's not good enough. But it can only get worse, man. There's going to be regression. I mean, this is totally unsustainable. Like, this is probably the hottest that I've ever been. I've had some hot runs, but this is insane. All right, Cleveland at Philadelphia. We get into the evening baseball. I want to get through these games, man. This is a game, I was thinking about it. Philadelphia is staying at home. They didn't play yesterday, and they lost their last 2 games to a Cincinnati Reds team that's not very good. So I think it's a bounce back spot for the Phillies here. I mean, that is pretty ugly. You can kind of make sense of them losing those games. I actually gave a play on the first 5 out on the show in that first loss of Philadelphia's because they were going up against Chase Burns. Then I think because they lost their win streak, maybe that carried over into the next game. But now I think it probably ends. I think Philadelphia is going to win this game here. They break the losing streak. They're staying at home. They had yesterday off, and Cleveland did not. Cleveland had to play yesterday, and they got a division sweep over Detroit, and that was after beating Cincinnati. So I think people are going to look at this and see how hot Cleveland is, and I think they might come into this game and might want to jump on Cleveland here because of how hot they've been. But we know Detroit, I mean, Detroit just looks like they are just, I don't know, they're in a really, really bad mental state right now. I don't think Cleveland is as good as they might look here. I think Philadelphia is the better team here, and I think they have the better starting pitcher on the mound here. Cleveland has a bullpen disadvantage because they used a bunch of relief pitchers yesterday. They used 5 relief pitchers while Philadelphia didn't even play. So that's going to be a major advantage to Philadelphia here, I think. Cleveland, their bullpen is okay. They're at 11th. Philly is a little bit worse than that at 15th. But I think Philly does have a little bit of a bullpen edge here, and maybe more than a little bit because of the rest. Hitting-wise, Cleveland's 15th. Philadelphia is 22nd, though. But I think you could definitely make the argument Philly has the better bats in their lineup. Gavin Williams is pitching for Cleveland, though. So even though I like Philly here, I don't necessarily know if I want to fade Williams here. Williams is possibly Cleveland's, probably he's their second best pitcher behind Messick. He's got a 3.67 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's not as good on the road, though. 4.97 road ERA. So his home road splits are against him here. He had a nice bounce-back start against Cincinnati after he had 2 rough outings. He pitched well against Cincinnati last time out. He's still pitching well this month, though, at least with his command numbers. 20-3 strikeout walk ratio, but he's been way too hittable. So I think Williams changed something because his walk number was too high before, and he was pretty unhittable, but over the last month, he's been too hittable, and his walk rate has been way better. So I think he started putting too many pitches over the plate. He needs to find some happy medium here. His numbers overall on the season I do like, though. He's got a really high strikeout rate, well over 1 per inning. His hit rate is still well below 1 per inning. Walk rate is not that bad either. Overall, I do think Williams is pretty good, but maybe you worry about his current form slightly. His numbers against Philly are pretty good in 29 at-bats, 241 average, 699 OPS, 8.7 strikeout walk ratio is not great. You know, I do think Philadelphia does have a starting pitching edge still, but if I wanted to play Philadelphia at this number, they're like a pretty big favorite here. I think I would want maybe a little bit better of a starting pitching matchup for them here. Christopher Sanchez is pitching for Philly, though, and he's definitely having a good season. 1.82 ERA, 1.2 whip indicates his ERA should probably be higher than that. But he's been good. He's been really good at home. 1 ERA. So the home road splits set up in his favor. He is coming off a complete game shutout, though, so maybe you do have to worry about that a little bit. It was the most pitches he's thrown in any outing this year, 108. It was against Pittsburgh, who are a good offense. That's a good sign that he did that in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, they tend to hit well at home. So that was a good outing. And in fact, he's thrown 3 shutouts this month. He's allowed no runs this month. He's gone at least 7 innings in every outing, and he has a 30-1 strikeout walk ratio this month. One of those starts is against the Rockies, though, and they have not been hitting well, and that was in Philly. And he did also do it to the A's, but not in the A's stadium. But yeah, he's obviously pitching really well right now. It's just kind of a matter of, was that too many pitches? He threw over 100 pitches in each of his last 2 outings. His numbers over the season are pretty crazy. He has one of the highest strikeout rates on top of a really high ground ball rate, too. That's really, really good. He's not as unhittable as you would think. He's allowed almost 1 hit per inning, but his walk rate is also pretty low. So, yeah, overall, he's basically a Cy Young contender. He's going up against, dude, I start looking at the pitcher, and then I forget who the fucking opponent even is. Who's the opponent? Cleveland. Yeah, he has good numbers against Cleveland. In 24 at-bats, 208 batting average, 478 OPS. Really, really good, but only 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. I obviously, like I said, I lean Philly in this game. It's just a matter of the price that's on Philly. And I don't know if they have enough of an edge in the starting pitching matchup here. Even though I think they have that edge, they have the rest advantage, which should swing the bullpen in their direction. So I like Philly here. Let me see. It's got to be in the, come on, man. There it is. Dude, what the fuck? Oh my God. It just refreshed. Yeah, that's great. The money is coming in on Philadelphia for what that's worth. 60% of tickets, 70% of the cash on them. Pretty pricey, though, at around minus 180. If you're going to play Philly, I think you do it full game and you do it, minus 1.5 run line. Well, you split bet it. Minus 1.5 on the run line and the rest of it on the money line. But again, the problem is I think Williams is good enough that he can actually potentially duel in this matchup. So that's what I worry about there. But yeah, I definitely lean Philly, though. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. I am not playing the Avs tonight. My picks saved your day. Don't listen to me on baseball. All of those overs were not even close. So obviously we're going to have a bunch of baseball totals today. Although my actual total plays have done well. Josh, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. The Valkyries, yeah, that was correct. I think I had a lean on them yesterday, right? Maybe my best WNBA lean yesterday was Minnesota. They won easily as well. That was an easy cover. The Valkyries are a good team. Mr. Pinsey, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I had my one recommendation yesterday, even though I didn't put it on my card. My favorite play was Minnesota in the WNBA yesterday. They won by almost 30. So yeah, they covered the 4.5 or whatever. St. Louis at Cincinnati. This is going to be one of my plays. Dude, I need to go faster here, man. I don't want this. I fucking hate this. Like, this show takes 2 fucking hours every day. I should enjoy it, but it fucking tires me out. I don't know. Baseball is the most annoying sport to do on the show. Just, there's just way too much that I have to talk about because everything else I just do situations and it's way easier. We're going over in St. Louis and Cincinnati if you couldn't figure that out already. Both teams played yesterday. St. Louis was at home against Pittsburgh. So they're not rested. That means they used bullpen arms yesterday. Cincinnati did not, but their bullpen is still pretty fadeable here. Cincinnati, I don't even know what situation they're in here. They're returning home from a road trip. I think they could be in a letdown spot, actually, because they did beat Philadelphia the last 2 times they played Philadelphia, which normally when a team returns home from a road trip, I do think that their offense can kind of be distracted and their offense can be affected negatively. And it does mean Cincinnati's bullpen is rested, but I'm going to fade them anyway here. Cincinnati, even though, yes, they do have a rested bullpen, they're not a good bullpen. St. Louis did use 4 relief pitchers yesterday. They're also not a good bullpen. So we have 1 unrested bullpen. St. Louis, they are 23rd in bullpen, and this is arranged by WHIP. And then what are we talking about? The Reds are 28th. So we're looking at 2 bullpens that could definitely get knocked around here. St. Louis has been pretty good offensively, 12th. The Reds are all the way up to 14th, so the Reds are hitting better again. We're in a hitter-friendly ballpark here, and this starting pitching matchup looks like a disaster to me. Kyle Leahy is pitching for the Cardinals. Oh, but he has a 3.94 ERA. That's good. Yeah, but his whip is 1.55. That's not good. He's also worse on the road, 4.26 road ERA. St. Louis is a much more pitcher-friendly ballpark than Cincinnati is. And yeah, I know Leahy's given up no more than 1 earned run in any of his outings this month, but 2 of them were at home. One of them was on the road against San Diego. They haven't hit well at all, and that's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. And he has a 12-9 strikeout walk ratio this month. I mean, come on, man. That is not good. So his walk rate is bad. His strikeout rate over the course of the season is well below 1 per inning. His walk rate is high, almost 1 walk every 2 innings. He's allowed more than 1 hit per inning by a pretty significant margin. This is not good stuff. He is facing Cincinnati here, and Cincinnati has good numbers against him. It's not a huge sample, 23 at-bats, although basically their entire lineup has faced him before. 304 batting average, 842 OPS, 4-1 strikeout walk ratio. But yeah, those are pretty good hitting numbers against him, so I think he's fadeable. And we're also going to fade Chris Paddock on the other side here, who is not good. 7.07 ERA, 1.63 whip, and most of that was with Miami. He was sucking it up for Miami so bad they designated him for assignment. The Reds picked him up, and going from Miami, a pitcher-friendly stadium, to the Reds, a hitter-friendly stadium, good luck with that, sir. Including, dude, this is mostly when he was on Miami. His home ERA was 15.88 this year. Like, you have to be kidding me. That does not bode well for him. He's made 1 start. I know it doesn't show it correctly here, but he made 1 start with the Reds so far, and he was okay in that start against Cleveland, but that was more of a pitcher-friendly environment. Cleveland plays a lot of low-scoring games at home. He did okay. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. Sure, fine. But his start before that, he got blasted by Philadelphia. This is going to be his first home start with Cincinnati. Yeah, maybe he'll get up for the game, I guess, but I'm not sure that I really see the argument for that here, man. It's going to be an unfriendly stadium to pitchers. He's been bad as a home pitcher this year. His numbers against St. Louis don't help the matter. 23 at-bats, not a huge sample, but they've basically all faced him before. 348 batting average allowed, 984 OPS, 7-1 strikeout walk ratio is good, but the rest of these numbers are not. Over the total is where we're going with this one. The money is indicating in that direction. It looks like we have 79% of the tickets on the under in this game. That makes no sense to me. 52% of the cash on the under. So if you want to take these numbers for what they say, money is coming in towards the over. The total's 9.5, like I said. You're not going to get a 9 on this, I don't think. But, I mean, I guess maybe. If you can find a 9, obviously that's better, but you might have to pay a decent amount for it. So it was 9.5s across the board for what I saw, though. We'll do it, even though we have to pay, we have to get over that hook there, but I think we can get there. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. St. Louis has 73% of the tickets on them, 62% of the cash on Cincinnati at about a minus 120 price. The money actually backing Chris Paddock seems crazy to me, although maybe that's an indicator that maybe the bettors think Leahy is overrated because his ERA looks way better than he actually is, so maybe that's what's going on there. Over is the play in that game. All right. I hate it, but you love it. All right, well, thank you. That's why I am selective, man. Like these leans that I have, I don't even know how strong I feel about some of these. I do not like spraying the board like that. I think you're just asking for punishment. Is it raining in Cincinnati? I mean, I don't know. I don't really factor in rain in those things. Either the game's going to be played or it isn't. I mean, the rain might make the fielders slip and whatever. I don't know. The rain might help the pitching a little bit, but I don't know. Let me see what does the weather look like in that game. Maybe it gets rained out and then we just get a no play on it, but I like the over. Let me see. Yeah, you're right. 66 and rainy. I mean, I think if the weather is good enough to actually play, then I don't think that means the rain's not going to have that much of an effect. Like they don't play in rain in baseball. Like they're so pussified now. Like they won't even play if there's like a thunderstorm in the vicinity. You know what I mean? They won't even play football now when that's the case. So yeah, I don't think it's a factor. I think if the game gets played, it means it's not raining. So the Vlad Guerrero prop, yeah, I mean, that one looked good to me. I don't know. I don't do much with props. Tampa Bay at the Yankees, one of the biggest series of the weekend because these are the teams with the top two records in the American League, although as the odds makers are telling you, the Yankees are the better team here. The Yankees played yesterday, so they're not rested, but they are staying at home. They lost to Toronto. The Yankees hitting really kind of fell off in those last two games, but they did have to face Savage in one of them. But yesterday, they couldn't get anything going against a Toronto bullpen game. I don't know what that was. Maybe the Yankees were just looking ahead. I have no idea. Sorry, not Toronto. I want to look at the Yankees here. Yankees used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Not really a big deal. Their better relievers are available here. But they are facing a rested Tampa Bay team. Tampa Bay did not play yesterday. So Tampa does have a rest advantage coming into this game. Tampa is coming off a sweep of Baltimore, but they're not going to overlook the Yankees, man. This is a big series for both teams. As far as the bullpens are concerned, Yankees are 9th in bullpen. Their bullpen's actually been pretty good. Tampa 14th. Their bullpen has been a real roller coaster. I mean, their ERA is not good though. It's like mid fours. That's not very good, although they're ranked 14th here. But Tampa Bay, their bullpen keeps going up and down all over the standings here. Offensively, the Yankees are ranked 3rd, Tampa Bay 7th. So we have two pretty capable offenses, but I think we also have pitchers that are capable of shutting the offenses down potentially here. Nick Martinez is pitching for the Rays. He's been shockingly good in his first season with them here, even though he's 35. Two old men pitching in this game today. 1.51 ERA, 1.04 whip. Those numbers are not sustainable, but he has pitched well. He's been a little bit worse on the road, 1.8 ERA, still obviously not bad. Numbers this month, he's allowed no more than 1 earned run in any of the outings. That's good, but he did face some weak offenses here. Toronto, Boston, Miami. He did face the Yankees once earlier this year, and he did not make it 5 innings, but he did hold them to 1 earned run, and Tampa wound up winning the game in extra innings, so he wasn't horrible in that outing, but he did walk too many guys. This month, he has an 11-2 strikeout walk ratio, which is pretty good. His strikeout rate is low. He doesn't really strike out a lot of guys, but his walk rate this season is low. Hasn't allowed a lot of hits either, well below 1 per inning. So he's been effective despite not striking a lot of guys out. Has decent numbers against the Yankees in his career as well. In 70 at-bats, 243 average allowed, 723 OPS, 16-10 strikeout walk ratio is not good, though. But Goldschmidt has 4 of those walks. Martinez could pitch well here. He's going to have to go up against Garrett Cole, who is returning for the Yankees after not having pitched in the majors since 2024. He's just always hurt, man. We're going to see what he can do. Obviously, the question is, yeah, you have to figure out, like, at what point is he going to be back in form that's, if ever, form that's close enough to what he has been in the past. He's never been bad, though. I mean, he's been like a Cy Young caliber pitcher basically throughout his entire career. So he doesn't have really any point in his career where he was not good. So if he's going to pitch, he's probably going to be good, but we don't really know. Again, I don't think he's had this much of a layoff during his entire career, though, right? Like, missing more than an entire season with an injury. He's a veteran, though, so he might be able to do it, come back and pitch well, but we don't really know. So I'm staying away from this game, but I would generally lean towards him pitching well here, but we don't really know. Tampa Bay has 95 at-bats against him, but it's only 4 hitters who have faced him. That's pretty insane. So it's just the long-timers have seen him a ton, and the rest of the guys haven't seen him at all. That's pretty crazy, man, to have a disparity like that because you have an older pitcher that's been out of the league for a little while. Tampa Bay has guys that have seen him 50-plus times, Diaz has, and then they have other guys that have never seen him before. Overall, he's held them to a 263 average, 703 OPS, 22 strikeouts, 7 walks. Those numbers are fine. Cole, I looked at what he did in the minors, and he actually got better. Like, he actually had his worst minor league rehab stint in single A. Like, he started out in single A. He was really, really shaky. Went up to double A, pitched a little bit better. And then his best outing was at the triple A level. And now they're bringing him, I think he only made 1 or 2 starts at triple A. Now they're bringing him up. I mean, he's Cole, so, you know what he's able to do in the majors. So you don't really need to prolong his rehab, right? Like, you just need to make sure that he's good. But he was fine. Like, I think he had like 5-something innings in AAA this year, and he gave up 1 earned run, I'm pretty sure, something like that. But he did allow more hits than innings pitched. So if you're concerned about that, I think he only had like 1 walk, though, and a few strikeouts. But I think he'll do well. This game kind of reads to me as an under. I don't know if we could trust Tampa Bay's bullpen, though, but the money looks like it's disagreeing on the under. Like, is the public really coming in and playing an under here? You almost always get them playing overs in Yankee games, obviously. But just because of Garrett Cole, do you really think they're coming back and playing an under? I think usually the public is kind of hesitant to want to play on a pitcher that's coming back from a long absence like this. So I don't know. 91% of tickets, 89% of the cash on the under. So the money seems to be indicating towards the over. I think if you go under, a first 5-inning under might make more sense and just go with the starting pitching to pitch well here. But I think it's a bit of a risk. I'm not doing it, but I don't really trust Tampa Bay's bullpen either. The money is indicating towards the Yankees as well. I think Tampa Bay's record is better than the Yankees right now, but they're clearly not the better team. The Yankees are minus 155 here, so obviously the odds makers are telling you the Yankees are the better team. It's not just the starting pitching matchup here. In fact, Garrett Cole might be getting a little bit undervalued in the market because he hasn't pitched in over a year. 56% of tickets on Tampa, 53% of the cash on Tampa. So the money's indicating towards the Yankees. But again, Tampa does have a rest advantage here. I don't want to... Handicapping the side in this game is really, really difficult. First 5 under is my lean there, but I don't have a strong opinion on that. Pittsburgh at Toronto. Toronto could be in a letdown spot. They're in a bad spot here, Toronto. They're returning home from playing in Detroit and then in New York, which I know that's not a huge travel situation there, but they've been gone for more than a week and they're returning home, which is still bad. And they just beat the Yankees twice, so it could be a letdown spot because that was a big series, So when a team's coming off a big series, they might overlook their next opponent. They might just be feeling high on themselves after beating the Yankees. The return home spot tends to be a distraction because you have to get back to family life. You've been away for a while. So Toronto is not really in a good spot here. Pittsburgh did just win their last 2 games against St. Louis. I know it was a divisional series, and St. Louis has a good record. I'm not sure that Pittsburgh is going to overlook Toronto here because Pittsburgh was playing pretty poor baseball before those 2 games, so they got back on track. They have a little bit of momentum here at the very least. I think the situation definitely favors Pittsburgh here. The problem is, do you want them in the starting pitching matchup? And I don't think I do. As far as the bullpens, Pittsburgh played yesterday in St. Louis, so both teams played yesterday. Pittsburgh used 2 relief pitchers. Toronto used 4. So Pittsburgh may have a little bit of a bullpen edge here, but their bullpen's not that good. They're at 19th. Toronto is ranked 13th, but their ERAs are pretty similar. So I think it's a little bit of a wash with the bullpens. Pittsburgh has the better offense. They're tied at 7th, and Toronto is, where are they? 27th. God. Toronto's offense really not doing well here. Bubba Chandler is pitching for Pittsburgh. I mean, he's got to figure something out, man. He's got enough talent that he could definitely be really good, but hasn't really happened this year. 5.14 ERA, 1.52 whip. It kind of sucks because it looked like he was about to take that next step. Like, he started pitching really well at the end of last year, but his numbers this year are pretty bad. He's a little bit better on the road, 4.94 road ERA. Didn't do well in his last outing against Philly. He only lasted 3 innings. He had 4 walks. His walk rate this month has been really, really concerning. 9 strikeouts, 11 walks, 5.54 ERA as well. That's not good. If he gets that under control, he could be a good pitcher. His walk number is alarmingly high, dude. Like, the rest of his numbers, like his hit number is fine. He's allowed way below 1 hit per inning. His strikeout rate is lower than you'd want to see. Like, I thought he was more of a strikeout pitcher than this. So that's not good that his strikeout rate's a bit lower than 1 per inning when he should be more of a strikeout guy. But his walk number is obviously the huge problem. Like, he's walking. His number of walks is like 75% of the number of innings pitched. That is horrible. That means he's walking 3 guys every 4 innings. You cannot do that, man. He has one of the highest walk rates in baseball, so I just don't see how we could trust him here. Although Toronto's never faced him before, so he has that advantage that I talk about when a young, talented pitcher goes up against a lineup that hasn't faced them before and a lineup that hasn't really done that well this year. The pitcher does have a little bit of an edge there, but he's also going to have to go up against Kevin Gausman, who's obviously been the better pitcher this year. I mean, it's no question. 3.45 ERA, 1.05 whip. Gausman has exactly the same ERA home and away as well. He bounced back nicely after he had a rough start against Tampa Bay, which he had to face Tampa Bay 2 times in a row. Bounced back really nicely with a shutout at Detroit for 6 innings last time out. He's got a 13-1 strikeout walk ratio this month. His command looks like it's on point right now, although the strikeout rate's a little low. He's allowed too many hits, but like all of them came in that one Tampa Bay outing. So I think you may give him a pass for that. I mean, you look at his numbers this season, really, really good. Below 1 hit per inning by quite a bit. Almost 1 strikeout per inning and a very low walk rate. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously solid. How does he match up against Pittsburgh? Not as well as you might think. He's got 37 at-bats against them, 270 batting average allowed, 784 OPS, 10-3 strikeout walk ratio is fine. But his numbers are a little bit questionable. So, I mean, I see the argument for Pittsburgh here, man. It's a bad spot for Toronto. I don't even necessarily disagree with the Pittsburgh side here. Toronto's laying like minus 165 or so. You could get Pittsburgh, split the bet, partially on the run line, partially on the money line. The money's indicating that way. I don't disagree with it. Like, the situation, I think, is definitely against Toronto here. But you have to rely on Chandler actually somehow regaining his form here. That's a pretty big risk, in my opinion. So I have to stay away from it, but I definitely see the argument. Also, you could make the argument that will happen because you do have Chandler, or that Chandler might have an upper hand in this matchup because he is unfamiliar to Toronto, and Gausman doesn't have the best numbers against Pittsburgh. So there are arguments for it. And in fact, I do lean that way, Pittsburgh. Make your own +1 run line, but I'm not going to do it. This next game up will be one of my plays, and I know I'm going to get fucked on this based on which way I decide to go, because I was thinking I wanted to go first 5 inning on this, and then I was like, no, I'm actually going to go full game on this. We're going to get fucked by going full game on this. That's just the way that it is. This is my Minnesota versus my Boston Red Sox. We're going to go under 7.5 in this game. I found it at minus 105. 5 out there, and the price seems right to me. I was weighing that versus first 5 inning under 3.5 at even money, which I would not disagree if you wanted to go first 5 innings under 3.5, but I like to try to get a 4. I really, really don't like Minnesota's bullpen, but I decided there were a few things that were still in favor of this, so we're going to go full game on this. You get under the key number, though. You get the hook on the 7.5, so I like that, even though I know you have to worry about Boston being a hitter-friendly ballpark, but maybe that'll be, that risk might be lowered a little bit by the fact that it's going to be 58 up here. After it was 90 earlier this week up here, it's going to be cool, which can help unders. We also have, the Red Sox offense has been so bad that might help. So you have Minnesota's really, really bad bullpen, but the Red Sox offense has been so bad that maybe that kind of helps Minnesota's bullpen enough. But then you also have a really good bullpen with the Red Sox, and both bullpens are rested. So that's why I decided to do this. Neither team played yesterday. So I think, again, when both teams are off the prior day, I do like to look for unders because I think the offenses can be a little bit colder after not playing. And I think obviously there's bullpen rest, so the bullpens, both teams can use whatever bullpen arms they want here. So I think that's good, but also we need the starting pitching matchup to be good here, and I think it is, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Minnesota's offense has been a little bit better, though. So on the offensive side of things, the Red Sox are still really struggling. They've moved up a little bit. They're at 26, but still, I think that helps Minnesota's bullpen at least, that they're facing a weak Red Sox lineup. Although I know the Red Sox versus Minnesota, when they played in Minnesota, that was a high-scoring series, I know. But Minnesota, I don't know. They're 12th in offense, but I don't think their offense is really that good. And I think the Red Sox pitching can kind of just counter that. Red Sox bullpen has been very good. They're at 3rd right now, and their ERA they're one of only 2 teams with a bullpen ERA below 3. It's just them in Texas. So the Red Sox are a high-level bullpen for sure. Minnesota is not at all, obviously. They're 27th. Very, very concerning. I know. They're like the 3rd or 4th worst bullpen. Very, very alarming, which is why I was strongly considering taking them out of the equation and making it a first 5, but I decided to go full game on this. And that means Minnesota's going to give up. They're going to give up like a 4-run inning or something. The hope here, though, is that the Red Sox are going to be winning late in the game, and the Red Sox don't even bat in the 9th inning. You know what I mean? That would help us out quite a bit. If we can get Minnesota's bullpen out of the game, an inning earlier, that would help us too. So that is a possibility here. The Red Sox lost 2 out of 3, by the way, when they played at Minnesota earlier this year. Red Sox might be more focused for that reason and maybe in a bit of a bounce back, but maybe not because the Red Sox are also returning home from a road trip. So, I have to mention that because that's a negative spot. The Red Sox had a pretty successful road trip. They went 4-2 on the road trip because they swept Kansas City to finish it. But they did not play a lot of high-scoring games. The Red Sox have still played a ton of under types of games, man. In recent games, in that Kansas City game, they only had 1 game where there were more than 7 runs. Going into that Atlanta game, you remember I gave unders out in 2 of those games against Atlanta. Both games hit. The Red Sox are just trending way, way under, and the under trend is still somewhat continuing. They had 1 game where they allowed a lot of runs against Atlanta, but that was Brian Bayo pitching, so I don't think that's indicative of what the rest of the Red Sox pitching is. And then the Red Sox did have 1 offensive burst against Kansas City, but even so, that's still a little bit out of the ordinary for the Red Sox. So they do play a lot of under-style games here. Minnesota doesn't really, but yeah, I think this game reads under to me. The Red Sox, the fact they're returning home from a road trip, I think it is a negative spot for the Red Sox, which I know is kind of bad here because we're hoping that the Red Sox are winning late in the game so they don't have to bat in the 9th inning, which is still going to be a possibility here. I still like the under, though. You can't rely on the home team not batting in the 9th for a full game under. You know what I mean? It helps, but that's something you can't, assume is going to happen. But the Red Sox, I think their offense might be in a distracted mode here, so I think that helps with the under as well. You know what I mean? The return home from the road trip, guys have to get back to home life. They could definitely be distracted, even though I did just say maybe the Red Sox will be focused because they didn't play well against Minnesota that last time, and that was the series where Garrett Crochet got totally blown up in that series, and we knew something was wrong with Crochet. Luckily for the Red Sox, though, they have a lot of young, talented pitchers, and their starting pitching rotation has been fine. But I like both starting pitchers in this one. Connor Prelip is pitching from Minnesota. He's got a 2.88 ERA, 0.96 whip. He's been basically pretty much the same home and away. We had an under in his game the last time out. It was a first 5 under, but that and the full game both hit. He's only allowed 4 earned runs this month in 16 innings. He's got an 18-6 strikeout walk ratio. You'd like to see the walks a little bit lower than that, but that's not bad. And he's only allowed 10 hits over that span. Minnesota's lost all 3 outings, but some of that is because the bullpen imploded in one of the games, with the other... some of it was the bullpen, but it also was that Minnesota couldn't score in one of the games as well. Overall, Prelip looks good, though. He's allowed way below 1 hit per inning. His strikeout rate is more than 1 per inning, and his walk rate is fairly low as well. So he's been good. I like that. And the Red Sox have never faced him before, so I think that should be an advantage to him here. Also, he's a lefty, and I don't know if it's still the case, but the Red Sox tend to struggle against left-handed pitchers. As far as I can tell, I might have to look that up now. I don't want to put anything out there that's wrong. But just in their history, I think that's kind of been the case. But you got to look up what the numbers are this year. But I don't really care as far as this handicap. I think that lefties just in general tend to be harder to figure out if you haven't seen them before. So I like it. I think the Red Sox offense is not going to do a ton here. Peyton Tolle is pitching for the Red Sox. He's pitching well as well. He's also a lefty. 2.05 ERA, 0.78 whip. He's been quite good. He's been better at home as well. 1.64 home ERA. He's faced some good lineups here too, man. He's battle-tested. He's faced New York, the Yankees, not the Mets. The Braves last time out pitched pretty well there, although his strikeout rate was down, but he had a good start anyway, and they couldn't really hit him. And he had a decent start against Tampa Bay in there as well. He's got good numbers overall, dude. He's allowed well below 1 hit per inning. His strikeout rate is right there, around 1 per inning. Low walk rate as well. Totally looks like he's good, and of course, Minnesota has never faced him before, except Tristan Gray is 0 for 1 off him. Other than that, we have 2 unfamiliar starting pitchers here. They're both young, talented pitchers as far as I can tell. Both pitching well here. We have one really, really good bullpen here. And the other, the bullpen that's bad is facing a really weak offense. So I'm hoping that cancels it out a little bit. I'm hoping the bullpen rest also means Minnesota can at least use better relief pitchers here. So we're going to go under full game here. Like I said, if you want to go first 5 innings, I don't disagree with that. I almost made this a first 5 inning play. I was hoping that there was going to be a 4, but the best I saw was like laying minus 135, minus 140 on that. If you want to do that, I guess you can, but I was like, nah, the better price is just on the full game here, under that key number of 7.5, so that's what we're going to go with there. And yes, I realized that when I was talking about the weather, yes, I know the Cincinnati game, it's also going to be somewhat cool. It's 68, but I still think that game reads as an over game to me in that St. Louis-Cincinnati game. And if it gets rained out, then, your bet just won't happen. So I'm fine with that as well. If we just, if the bet just never happens, it is what it is. We just don't want a loss, man. I got to get through this, man. I don't know. I'm going slow here. Mets at Miami. Both of these teams played yesterday, I'm pretty sure. Miami finished a 4-game series against Atlanta and lost again, but Miami is staying at home here. The Mets are traveling in from Washington. Yeah, so not really a horrible travel swap. The Mets beat Washington yesterday. I don't know if that's really that big of a deal. Both teams probably show up for this series. It's a divisional series. Both teams have had their issues this year. The Mets used a lot of relief pitchers yesterday. They used 4. Miami used 2. Miami's bullpen is a little bit better than the Mets, and they set up a little bit better here. Miami's ranked 6th. Mets 10th in bullpen. Probably a little bit of an edge to Miami there. Mets are still ranked dead last. They were tied with the Padres when we looked yesterday, but they're alone dead last again in offense based on OPS. That's not good. Miami's 18th, so Miami does have the better offense, although it's not great. Interesting starting pitching matchup here. Tobias Myers is pitching for the Mets. He used to be on the Brewers, and he has been a starting pitcher in the past, but the Mets have been using him out of the bullpen, and he's been good. He's got a 3.41 ERA, 1.03 whip, pretty much the same numbers home and away. Problem is, it looks like he's not going to make a full start here because he pitched on the 18th, so he's not really on a full starter's rest here. The Mets do have him starting the game, at least right now they have him listed as the starter. Let me see. I want to make sure because there was one undecided pitcher here too. I'm just looking for where that was. It was, I think it was Atlanta was undecided, but ESPN had Elder listed, but now they have listed Elder as their starter, so I don't know what was going on with that. But anyway, yeah, it looks like Myers is the listed starter here for the Mets. So we'll go with that, I guess. But I don't think he's going to give you a full starter's workload here. Looks like he's probably going to go, I would guess he might go 3 innings, something in that ballpark here, but I really don't know. But his numbers overall have been pretty good. Against Miami, let me see. He hasn't been that good against Miami, but they only have 5 hitters who have faced him, 10 at-bats, 300 batting average, 13-17 OPS, 4-2 strikeout walk ratio. You know, it's not great, so maybe his matchup here isn't that great, but I generally think Myers is going to pitch well here, though, and I think he should still be a starter, dude, because in 2024, he was a starter almost the whole time for Milwaukee, almost an entire season, and he put up good numbers, so I don't know why he's not still a starting pitcher. Like, I liked him that year. I thought he was going to be pretty decent. I don't know. Maybe the Mets are transitioning him into being a full-time starter again. I don't know. Yuri Perez is pitching for Miami, and he's definitely had some issues. 5.33 ERA, 1.41 whip. You don't like to see that because, you know, I'm a fan of Perez. I've liked some of what he's done in the past. It sucks that he's already had, like, multiple Tommy John surgeries, and he's only 23, but he has a lot of talent, but it just hasn't really totally panned out. But he's been good at home this year. He has pretty significant home road splits, 3.86 home ERA, so he is better at home. He's been bad this month, but a lot of it has been on the road. Well, half of it has been on the road. He's got more than 1 strikeout per inning, so that's good, and fewer than 1 hit per inning, so he's still been unhittable this month, although Miami's lost all of his starts. They've lost his last 5 starts. The problem is the walks. All the rest of his numbers are good. High strikeout rate, low hit rate. That's the case over the course of the season as well. The walk number is too high, and he's got to figure that out. So that's the concern with him, is that he's really wild. He will be facing, who are we even talking about here? The Mets, right? Yeah. His numbers against the Mets, not good, although they only have 5 hitters who have faced him before. 16 at-bats, 375 batting average, 1287 OPS. So I don't love that. Like, when I first looked at the starting pitching matchup, it read as an under to me, but maybe not, given these pitching numbers here, the matchup numbers. But you don't want to weigh them that heavily when the sample size is that small. So I don't know, man. I mean, the money's indicating a little bit towards the over here. The total's at 9. It's at 8. Excuse me, 8. 66% of tickets on the over, 69% of the cash on the over. The money is indicating on Miami as well, though. 61% of tickets on the Mets. 92% of the cash on Miami. And it looks like the Mets opened as a minus 130 or so favorite, and now the Mets are a small now Miami is a small favorite after the Mets opened a road favorite. I don't know what's going on with all of that. I don't think the Mets should be favored in this particular matchup here. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good read on the game. The money is saying Miami. Perez has definitely been in bad form, though. But the Mets look like they're kind of going with a bullpen game here. You know, I don't like that either. So the more I think about it, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are definitely arguments for an over here, too, even though, like I said, when I first saw these pitchers, I was thinking, oh, Myers, I like him. Perez, I like him. Under. But then, you know, you think about it more, bad pitching numbers matchup-wise with both of them, even though small sample. Mets might actually be going with the bullpen game here. I don't know. When you start thinking about it that way, it actually almost kind of starts swinging more towards seeming like an over type of game. You can see why I'm not playing the game, but those are my thoughts on that one. Detroit at Baltimore on Apple TV at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Baltimore is returning home from a road trip. And you know I talk about that when a team returns home from a road trip. People will be like, oh, Baltimore lost 5 out of 6 on the road trip. They were playing Tampa Bay last. They're playing a much lesser Detroit team here. Baltimore should bounce back now that they're at home. That's what the public is going to have a tendency to think. I don't agree with that. I think even when you had a bad road trip, I think the road trip return spot is a negative regardless of whether the trip was good or bad. So I think that's bad. I think Baltimore, it's a distraction spot. You have to get back to home life, etc. But they do have a rest advantage here because Detroit did play at home yesterday. But maybe for them it'll be positive. Just get out of home. You know what I mean? Detroit just got swept 4 straight games by Cleveland. Maybe it'll be good for Detroit to just say, fuck it. Just leave home, go out on the road, change your environment. So in a way, it is kind of a focus spot for Detroit. So even though Baltimore does have a rest advantage, I think it's negated by how bad a return home spot is, plus Detroit being in a focus spot situational. And Detroit only used 2 guys out of the bullpen, so that's not that bad. Their bullpen's not great. They're ranked 18th. Baltimore's is a little bit worse than that at 21st. So Baltimore's bullpen ERA is almost a run higher. So Detroit actually does have the better bullpen. Baltimore's been better offensively, 16th. Detroit has fallen completely apart at 23rd now offensively. But the problem with backing Detroit is you have to back Jack Flaherty here if you want Detroit. I don't want to do that. He's been pretty bad. 5.77 ERA, 1.6 WHIP. He's been a little bit better on the road, but not much. Basically the same. This month, he has a decent strikeout-walk ratio, 20-7, pretty high strikeout rate. Number of hits he's allowed isn't that bad, but Detroit's lost 6 starts in a row of his anyway. He has not allowed more than 4 earned runs in any of his starts this month. So he's been actually a little bit better this month, but he's faced a lot of weak lineups here. Texas, Boston, the Mets, Toronto. Those are not lineups that do a lot of damage, really. And we faded Flaherty, I think, in one of those games. I forget which one it was, but we did get a win in one of those games, fading him. I think it was the Texas game. I don't remember. I think it was that. It might have been more than one of them, actually. What else was I about to say? Oh, yeah, Baltimore, though, is not really that much of a step up offensively. Baltimore's going with Chris Bassett, and if you watch my show, you know I'm not a fan of Bassett. He's got a 5.44 ERA, 1.7 WHIP here. He's really good at home, though, 2.91 home ERA, so he is way better at home. Bassett is actually doing a little bit better this month, sort of. He's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in all 3 outings. His team has won 2 of them. He's got a 13-5 strikeout walk ratio, which I guess is not as bad. Over the course of the season, though, he's allowed way more than 1 hit per inning. His strikeout rate is down. It's pretty low. His walk rate is not that impressive. It's fairly high. So overall, Bassett's numbers don't look that good to me. And I forgot to look at Flaherty's matchup numbers here, so I got to go back. Flaherty, sorry I'm all over the place here. Flaherty on the course of the season hasn't allowed that many hits, fewer than 1 per inning, and his strikeout rate is actually high, but his walk rate is crazy high. Flaherty, that's his problem, is the walks. He's got to get that under control here. Going up against Baltimore, let's see what his numbers are here. Not very good in 26 at-bats, 308 batting average allowed, 862 OPS, 6-4 strikeout walk ratio. So Flaherty might not do well here. Chris Bassett, like I said, does have the home road splits in his favor here at least, but I still don't really trust him. He's going up against Detroit. His numbers are not great here against Detroit. 50 at-bats, 260 batting average, 835 OPS. 14-1 strikeout walk ratio is good, though, and I think his matchup numbers are a little bit better than Flaherty's. I don't trust either of them, though. I think I would lean over in this game. It's not one that made the cut for me or anything. The money seems to disagree with me on that. And, you know, there are some problems with it. Like Baltimore's bullpen is rested. They're returning home from a road trip, which might distract their hitting. Detroit's hitting has been completely in the gutter recently. So I know there were some problems with an over here, but 80% of tickets, 67% of the cash on the over. So the money's indicating towards the under, but I would not do that. I lean over, and I will lean slightly towards Baltimore here, I think. I don't know if I want to do that, though, because the spot definitely favors Detroit, though. But I think the pitching matchup favors Chris Bassett here. Do with that information what you want. 71% of tickets, 82% of the cash on Baltimore. They're at minus 136 or so here, but still, I think the situation is actually strongly against Baltimore, though. So they have the pitching matchup edge, I think, but it doesn't seem that significant. So, maybe scratch that. Maybe I do actually lean towards Detroit a little bit there. Obviously, I do not have that game figured out. It's not on my card. Nope. Washington at Atlanta. Atlanta played yesterday, and they're returning home from the road, but they only were on the road for one series against Miami, so I don't consider that to be that bad of a spot because they weren't away for that long. They were only in Florida, and they're coming back home to Atlanta here. That's not that bad. But still, they might overlook Washington. Washington's not a good team, and Atlanta just swept Miami. They won 3 out of 4, sorry. But that's still, maybe Atlanta will be feeling a little bit high on themselves here. Washington also played yesterday. They lost to the Mets, and now they're starting a road trip. Washington was at home. The spot is a little bit better for Washington because they are going out on the road. You got to figure they will focus on Atlanta. Problem with Washington, obviously, is you cannot back their starting pitcher in this game. Mikolas, no way. And Atlanta has a better bullpen as well. Atlanta used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Washington used 2, but Atlanta's bullpen is way better. They're ranked number 1 in these rankings right now, and Washington is 25th. Atlanta also is a really good offense. It's at number 2, but Washington's 4, so Washington has hit well. But Miles Mikolas pitching for Washington, the only thing I would be able to do is fade Mikolas, basically regardless of what he's doing. He's got a 6.91 ERA, 1.49 whip. Not good. He is a little bit better on the road, though. 6.05 road ERA. And Atlanta actually doesn't hit that well at home, but that's probably the best you could say about Mikolas. He's been a little bit better, I guess, this month, but still not going deep into outings. Mediocre numbers at best here. Over the course of the season, he's allowed way over 1 hit per inning. His walk rate isn't really that high, but he's also allowed 11 home runs. So he's way too hittable, and he allows a lot of power hitting, which is not good. And his strikeout rate is also really low, so that's bad. He's facing a good lineup, the Braves. The Braves have hit him okay, but not as well as you would think. He's got 126 at-bats against them. 17-5 strikeout walk ratio is actually pretty good. 278 batting average allowed, 742 OPS is still below that 750 threshold where I start saying, the pitcher is at a disadvantage here. Still, I don't really think Mikolas is going to do well here. I would obviously rather be on the side of Bryce Elder, but obviously you're going to have to pay a huge price if you want Atlanta here because obviously they're the better team across the board. Elder, I don't know what was going on with the board here, where Atlanta was listed as undecided and ESPN had it listed as Elder, but it looks like they have announced that it is Elder starting, so I don't know what the deal was with that. Elder is actually pitching well this year, 2.01 ERA, 0.99 whip after he really, really struggled last year. His career has been a roller coaster, dude. He was really good early in his career. I think he had an injury issue, tried to come back, really, really was struggling. But now I think he's figured something out, and he's pitching well again this season, but his strikeout rate is not what it once was. So I think he's learning how to pitch with his new limitations, let's say. Even though he's not even old, he's 27, but whatever. He's been slightly worse at home, but not bad, 2.17 ERA. He's been good this month. 20-7 strikeout walk ratio is fine, but he's only allowed 10 hits in 19 2/3 innings. He's pitched pretty well. Overall, like I said, his strikeout rate is down. It's not really that high, but he's allowed very few hits this season. He's been very difficult to hit, and his walk rate is mediocre, which isn't too bad, I guess. He'll be facing Washington here. Washington has hit him pretty well, though. 68 at-bats, 294 batting average allowed, 784 OPS. That's not good. So Elder actually has the lesser matchup numbers here against Mikolas. I don't think I would want to deal with that, though. The money's coming in towards Washington. Hilarious. Atlanta's around minus 220. I mean, the argument would be that Atlanta shouldn't be favored by this much, given, the situation being a little bit against them, and given that the pitching matchup looks like maybe it's a little bit closer than you would think. But Atlanta does have a huge bullpen edge. They're still the way better team. I don't want Washington. 85% of tickets on Atlanta, 71% of the cash on Washington. The total's 9. I could see some arguments for an over here. I mean, Mikolas is always an argument for an over, and so is Washington's bullpen. I know Atlanta's bullpen is good. I don't really want to fade Elder here because he is pitching well, but Elder does have bad matchup numbers. So, do with that info what you want. All right. Usually I take a break at the hour mark, but usually it's with 5 games left. I still have one more play to give out here, which is I don't even remember which game it was. I think it's in the last game on the board, actually. So it is not this game, Dodgers-Milwaukee, which is going to be the biggest weekend series here. Milwaukee might be in a little bit of a bad spot because they're returning home from the road, but they were only in Minnesota and Chicago to face the Cubs. So obviously that trip from Chicago to Milwaukee, not a big concern. You could take a bus to do that. So I'm not that concerned by that, but still they were away from home for a week. So that is still technically a negative, typically, on the return home spot. But then again, they're also facing the Dodgers, so they're probably not going to overlook the Dodgers. But that was a huge series sweep that Milwaukee just had against Chicago. The Cubs and Milwaukee, one of those two teams is going to win the NL Central. I am pretty positive of that. So that was a big series sweep for Milwaukee. So there is a potential letdown component to this. So I would consider this to be a negative spot for Milwaukee generally. Dodgers just beat the Padres, and now they're coming in from the Pacific Coast. They're having to go all the way to Milwaukee. So the Dodgers are having to travel more on this leg of travel. The Dodgers did not play yesterday. I don't believe Milwaukee did either, though. No, so both teams were off yesterday, which is good for the bullpen setup here. Bullpens are rested, and they're both good. The Dodgers have the second-ranked bullpen here and a really good bullpen ERA. So they've cleaned up that. That was their main issue last year, and they've cleaned that up. Yeah, this Dodgers team, they got to get some of their injured hitters back. But, yeah, Dodgers are the best team in baseball, man. Milwaukee's a good team, too. Milwaukee is 12th in bullpen as well, so their bullpen is also good. Dodgers are number 1 in offense. Milwaukee is climbing. They're at 17th, so Milwaukee is improving offensively. Dodgers are going with Justin Robleski. I can't figure this out, man. Robleski, he doesn't have good strikeout stuff. He's kind of a junk pitcher, but he's continuing to pitch well, and he's still pretty young. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I can't really argue with what he's doing. 2.49 ERA, 1.03 whip, even though I think the advanced analytics guys will tell you he's going to fall off at some point, but I don't necessarily want to fade him right now. He's been good on the road as well, 1.5 road ERA. He had one pretty questionable start against Atlanta, but they still let him go almost a complete game in that outing. He allowed 7 earned runs, but they let him just keep going. And he still had a good strikeout walk ratio there. He's got a 12-3 strikeout walk ratio this month, which is, it's not a lot of strikeouts, but he's not walking a lot of guys, which that's basically what he's done all season. He's not allowed many hits, well below 1 hit per inning. His walk rate is pretty low, but his strikeout rate is very low. So he's not fooling hitters, and he's allowing a lot of fly balls. So, yeah, that is a concern. But the Dodgers have won most of his starts, and he's allowed more than 2 earned runs only twice this season. And one was his first start of the season. The other was that Atlanta start I mentioned. Yeah, he is pitching well. Against Milwaukee, he hasn't been that great. They have 11 at-bats against him. It's not a big sample. 6 of their hitters have faced him, but they do have a 273 average, 879 OPS off him, 2-1 strikeout walk ratio. So Robleski might struggle in this game. He's going up against Logan Henderson, who I probably prefer. I think Henderson is just the more talented pitcher here. He's got a 3.5 ERA so far, 1.06 whip, pitching for the Brewers. He's pitched well so far, home and away, very similar ERA there, so not significant home road splits. He's only made 4 starts so far. We got a first 5 under correct in his last game, which was him against Prelip. I liked that one. The full game went under as well. Henderson's actually been really good. He's made 4 starts so far. One was a short outing against Kansas City, but throughout the whole thing, he's allowed no more than 2 earned runs in any of his outings. He has a 20-2 strikeout walk ratio this month in 16 innings pitched with only 13 hits allowed. And his numbers over the course of the season are pretty much that. High strikeout rate, pretty low hit rate, and a very low walk rate. He's pitching really well, dude. And I know he has to go up against the Dodgers here, but he did face the Yankees already. So, and Washington's a pretty good offense too, and he faced them. So the fact that he did pretty well in those outings, he's somewhat battle tested here. So I don't think he's going to be totally intimidated facing the Dodgers here. And he does have an advantage where he hasn't pitched against them before. So the Dodgers have not seen him before. So Henderson might have a little bit of an advantage there. I kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't really want to leave Milwaukee here because I think the situation is bad, but the money's indicating on Milwaukee, and I do actually lean that way as well. I think Henderson has the upper hand over Wroblewski, and then I think the bullpens are kind of a wash. But the situation for Milwaukee really does worry me, so I'm not going to play this. But Dodgers, 52% of tickets on them, 58% of the cash on Milwaukee. The line is right around a pick'em price, like basically pick the winner, and the money's coming in on the over. I don't think I agree with that. Both starting pitchers have been good. Wroblewski, his matchup numbers are so limited against Milwaukee. I don't know. The money coming in on the over, I think an under makes more sense in this game. To me, the total's at 8.5. I think both starting pitchers could get the job done, and then both bullpens are pretty good as well, and they're both rested. So, yeah, I would lean under in that game. Which actually, I might prefer the under to the side, actually, in that one. But I don't want to play the game. All right. Garrett, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. The Braves do keep winning, yes. I still think Carolina's going to win the NHL series there, but I don't know, man. I got to look into it more, but I might give out a play on Carolina tomorrow. I'm definitely not going to be on Montreal tomorrow, though. I can tell you that much. I don't know if I'm going to play Carolina or not, but that game already I know is going to be Carolina or pass, but it's going to have to be like a puck line situation on Carolina. All right, I'm going to be right back. I'll talk about the rest of these games. I have one more play, which is another baseball total. I already told you which game it was in. You could probably guess what the play is already, but I will be back in a second. All right. One thing about Montreal, by the way, I just saw it come up on ESPN over here. They're the highest scoring first period team in the NHL playoffs this postseason. So that was another indicator that you could have played them first period, which I said that was a possible way to attack that game as well, which I'm pretty sure that was a winner, but we went full game and that was also a winner. All right. Seattle at Kansas City. Kansas City is staying at home. They just got swept by the Red Sox. They didn't play yesterday, so Kansas City could be in a bit of a bounce-back spot here. Seattle also did not play yesterday. They are starting a road trip, coming off of winning a series against the White Sox. Seattle, they're the better team, though, and people are probably going to look at this and see the records, and Seattle's is better, but I don't know if the public's going to want to lay a favorite price on the road with Seattle, though I think they are the better team, especially in the bullpen. The bullpens are both rested here, but Seattle's got the better bullpen. They're ranked 17th, but their ERA is like a top 5 bullpen ERA. They're good. Kansas City, not good, 26th. Offensively, Seattle has struggled a bit. They're 20th right now, tied in 20th. The Royals have fallen a bit. They're at 18th, but yeah, I mean, they've hit a little bit better than Seattle, though I don't know. I could see the argument that Seattle is the better offense, though. Logan Gilbert is pitching for Seattle in this game. He's been the better of these two pitchers. He's got a 4.45 ERA, but his 1.15 whip indicates that his ERA should be lower than that. Like, he's pitched better than his ERA would suggest. He's been really good on the road. Kind of crazy to see a Seattle pitcher be that much better on the road. They're almost always better at home. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's a smaller sample, but he has a 1.59 road ERA. So he's pitched well on the road. He did not do well in his last start at home against San Diego. Gave up 3 home runs. He wound up giving up 7 earned runs on 5 hits. So I think he got a little bit unlucky there. But he's got to stop allowing home runs, dude. He's allowed 7 home runs this month, and all of them came at home. And Seattle's ballpark is not a home run conducive ballpark. I don't know what is going on with Gilbert at home right now, man. His overall numbers are pretty good, though, on the course of the season. He's got more than 1 strikeout per inning, fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning, and his walk rate's not very high. But the number of home runs is insane, 11. He needs to fix that. But he's only allowed 1 home run on the road, though. But it's in way fewer innings, but still he is allowing fewer home runs per inning on the road, though. A road start might be good for him here. I know he's going to Kansas City, where Kansas City is no longer a really pitcher-friendly ballpark because they moved the walls in. His numbers against Kansas City are not that good. In 88 at-bats, 273 batting average, 806 OPS, 19-9 strikeout walk ratio. Not great, so I don't really want Gilbert here. Noah Cameron is pitching for Kansas City. He was good last year, but this year he's really, really struggled in his second season, I think, in the majors. 5.4 ERA, 1.51 whip. That is not good. He's been a little bit better at home, but not much. 5.23 home ERA. He's been okay this month. He's given up 3 earned runs in each of his outings, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. I mean, that's not horrible. It was at home against Detroit, but he didn't even make it 5 innings in that one. And then he had a decent start last time out at St. Louis. His overall numbers, I wouldn't say they're terrible, but the amount of hits is pretty bad. He's allowed well over 1 hit per inning, but a lot of that came in like 1 outing at the A's stadium, though. So maybe you do have to kind of give him a pass for that. His walk rate isn't too bad. His strikeout rate is a little bit low. But I don't know. Overall, his numbers don't look that bad to me. But his ERA and his whip are both bad, and the whip doesn't lie too much. Numbers against Seattle are decent in 14 at-bats. They haven't really seen too much of them. They only have 1 extra base hit, a double from J.P. Crawford, 2 strikeouts, no walks, 286 average, 643 OPS. Cameron might actually be able to pitch okay here. The money is coming in on Kansas City in this one. 58% of tickets on Seattle, 75% of the cash on the Royals, though. Seattle's dropped a bit. They're around minus 120 now as a favorite here. The money looks like it's definitely coming in on Kansas City here. What I will say is if you go Kansas City here, I think you got to go first 5 innings here because I would not want their bullpen against Seattle's bullpen. The money's also indicating on the under here. I don't know about that, but the argument for Kansas City first 5 is that Cameron has better matchup numbers than over Gilbert. But Gilbert he has the good home road splits here, and I think Gilbert's better than his ERA looks. So those are some concerns that I have with it. Texas at Anaheim. Anaheim played yesterday, and they probably should have gotten swept in this series. It was a 4-game series against the A's. They lost 2 of the games by 1 run, and they won 1 of the games. But remember, they won that game after getting no hit into the 8th inning, and then Ginn lost it, and they hit a 2-run home run against them. So Anaheim could have lost every game in that series, but they also could have won 3 out of the 4 games. So, maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked. Anaheim, I don't know what they're doing, man. Maybe they will show up, staying at home off an ugly series, but Texas is the rested team here. Texas is in the middle of a road trip, though. They're coming in from Colorado, having to go from elevation to the Pacific Coast. That's not that easy to do. But Texas is rested, and they have the way better bullpen. Texas was off yesterday, like I said. Anaheim was not. Anaheim used 4 relief pitchers, so Texas has a huge bullpen advantage here. They're rested, and they're number 5 in bullpen, but they have the best bullpen ERA. Anaheim is terrible. Anaheim is second worst bullpen in both whip and ERA. Really, really bad. Offensively, Anaheim has fallen off as well, and they're actually behind Texas offensively now. Texas 23rd, Anaheim 25th, or Texas tied in 23rd. Jacob deGrom pitching for Texas. You look at the starting pitching matchup, and you think this is clearly an advantage for Texas, although Texas is making you pay a big price for it because everybody knows how good deGrom is, and yeah, he is. He's got a 3.02 ERA, 0.91 whip. He hasn't been that good on the road, though. 4.67 road ERA, so he pitches better in the very pitcher-friendly Texas Stadium there. Ballpark at Arlington, whatever the fuck it is now. Anaheim's more of a hitter-friendly ballpark. deGrom wasn't really good in his last outing against Houston, but he allowed 4 home runs, and those were the only runs they scored against him. 4 solo home runs, very strange. The home run ball's been an issue for him recently. He's allowed 6 home runs this month between 2 starts against Houston and the Yankees, but he also did really well against the Cubs. But he's faced really strong lineups in his last 4 games, facing the Yankees, Houston, and the Cubs. That's not that easy. And overall, his numbers are still really good on the season. Really low hit rate, high strikeout rate, really low walk rate. I mean, I'm not too concerned by him, although he has allowed 10 home runs this season, which that part of it is concerning. Will he bounce back here against Anaheim? Anaheim hasn't been playing well, but I don't know. His numbers against Anaheim are actually not that good. In 59 at-bats, 20-6 strikeout walk ratio is good. 288 batting average allowed, 828 OPS. Those numbers are not good. So I don't know if we could trust deGrom here. He's going up against a real wild card in Grayson Rodriguez, who is only 26 years old. He started out his season his career with Baltimore. Like I mentioned in his last start, he started pitching pretty well with Baltimore, and then he got injured, and he missed all of last year. He came back, and he was really, really shaky, to put it mildly. But he had to face the Dodgers, dude, in his first start, coming back from a year plus out of Major League Baseball. Maybe you got to give him a pass for that. He comes in, he has to face the best offense in baseball. But he wasn't good. He gave up 7 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings. 4 strikeouts is pretty good, but 4 walks as well, and 7 hits. But, I think I'm leaning towards you have to give him a pass for that because it was really like a tough ask in that one. And, in his return to have to do that, maybe you give him a pass for it. He will be going up against Texas here, which is a much easier assignment. Texas's offense is a lot weaker than the Dodgers. Although Texas hits better on the road, though, because their home ballpark is so pitcher-friendly. Texas actually does hit better on the road, and this is a more hitter-friendly park here. He's been decent against Texas when he's faced them in the past. 25 at-bats, 7-1 strikeout walk ratio, 240 batting average allowed, 749 OPS. Those numbers are all right. It sounds ridiculous, but maybe Anaheim is worth considering in this game. I would not go full game on that, though. Maybe Rodriguez does actually pitch well enough to battle deGrom here, and maybe there is some value in the first 5. Obviously, I would not go full game with Anaheim here. Their bullpen is at a huge disadvantage. Texas minus 160 or so on the money line is a pretty hefty price, and it's probably pretty similar in the first 5 innings. 62% of tickets on Texas, 61% of the cash on Anaheim, though. I don't know, man. I don't want to do it. I don't want to actually take Rodriguez against deGrom, but first 5 innings, maybe that is a way to look at that game. But it's not going to be one that's on my card. A's at San Diego, so the A's they play in one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks. They get to play in one of the most pitcher-friendly here. San Diego had yesterday off, and they're staying at home. They're coming off a tough series against the Dodgers. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. Maybe there's a little bit of a hangover effect there for San Diego. Maybe not, because they didn't play yesterday. The A's did. The A's are only traveling from Anaheim to San Diego here, so that's not that bad. But the A's did play yesterday, and their bullpen is obviously significantly worse than San Diego's is. The A's also had to use 3 relief pitchers yesterday while San Diego was resting. San Diego's ranked 7th in bullpen right now. They're one of the top bullpens, so they're good. The A's 22nd, not very good. Plus, with the rest on top of that, San Diego has a big bullpen advantage in this game. The A's are 7th offensively, though, and San Diego's 29th. So the A's have an offensive edge. And just looking on the surface, it looks like the A's have the starting pitching edge here with Jeffrey Springs pitching. He's been pretty good, 3.93 ERA, 1.2 whip. He's better on the road, which is expected because the A's stadium is so hitter-friendly. He's got a 3.04 road ERA, which is pretty good. He's been decent this month, allowing no more than 4 earned runs in any of his outings. That was at home. He pitched well at home last time out against San Francisco, and then the bullpen completely blew it. Wasn't his fault in that one. He only allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings there. 12 strikeouts, 4 walks for him this month. That's pretty good. His overall numbers are decent over the course of the season. He's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. His walk rate's not that high. His strikeout rate's a little bit low. But, overall, not too bad here. Numbers against San Diego, pretty good. In 46 at-bats, 196 batting average allowed, 593 OPS, 13-3 strikeout walk ratio. So Springs might pitch well here. So I was thinking maybe I was going to give out a play on the A's first 5 here or something because I don't like Walker Buehler. He's pitching for San Diego. He's not having a great season. He's never really been able to bounce back from his injury issues. 5.01 ERA, 1.35 whip. He's good at home this year, though. 3.16 home ERA. He's significantly better at home, which makes sense. It's a pitcher-friendly ballpark here. That's helped him out. He's actually been pretty good this month. San Diego's won all 3 of his starts this month. He's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in all of them, 2 in each of the last 2. 13-2 strikeout walk ratio, and 2 of those outings were on the road, but they were also in pitcher-friendly ballparks, San Francisco and Seattle, but so is this one. His overall numbers aren't too bad. He's allowed more than 1 hit per inning, which isn't great. His strikeout rate is a little bit below 1 per inning, not horrible. His walk rate, a little bit high, though. I mean, that's kind of the worst stat that he has there, but he hasn't been that bad. Facing the A's, who are a pretty good lineup, they really basically just haven't even seen that much of him. Only Chaim and McNeil have ever faced him, and they're a combined 3 for 16 off him with no extra base hits, 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks. It's a 188 average and 465 OPS. But most of their lineup is actually unfamiliar with Buehler, so maybe that's a little bit of an edge to Buehler. But Buehler is no mystery, though. He's a veteran. He's been around for so long. Guys know how to hit against him, so that kind of takes the unfamiliarity advantage away a little bit. I think I do still lean towards the A's in the first 5 here. I prefer Springs over Buehler still. Obviously, San Diego has a huge bullpen advantage here, though, so I don't want that included, but I think Springs has a little bit of an edge over Buehler, so maybe first 5 A's, 90% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the A's. You're going to get them as an underdog probably. The full game, they're an underdog, but they're probably less of an underdog in the first 5, though. Minus 125, minus 130 is the price on San Diego for the full game. Colorado at Arizona. This series already started yesterday, and Arizona won 2-1, and they've now won 5 games in a row. Pretty low-scoring game for what you'd think from a Colorado-Arizona game. I mean, both teams, they don't really have particularly good pitching, and they both have good hitting ballparks. Arizona used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Colorado used 4. Colorado had a bullpen game going yesterday, so their bullpen is definitely overworked right now. Arizona's got the bullpen edge here. They're ranked 4th in bullpen, even though their ERA is above 4, so I don't think they're that good of a bullpen. But Colorado has a worse bullpen ERA and a way worse bullpen whip, and they're ranked 20th, and they're less rested. So, yes, Arizona does have the bullpen edge here. Arizona 11th in hitting. Colorado is 20th, so Arizona's been the better hitting team as well. Colorado, Tomoyuki Sugano, who I think was initially going to start yesterday, he is now starting today. He's been okay, 4.02 ERA, 1.26 whip. He's been better outside of Coors Field, which obviously makes sense, 3.43 road ERA. But Arizona's a pretty hitter-friendly ballpark, although not as much as Coors Field. Sugano this month, not great. He has 4 strikeouts and 5 walks this month in 15 and a third innings, so he's not fooling guys. The walk number wouldn't be that high. Like, it isn't really that high, but the strikeout rate is just ridiculously low. He's not really a strikeout pitcher, though, but he's also allowed more than one hit per inning, and he just faced Arizona. He pitched fine in that outing. He held them to 2 earned runs in 5 innings in Coors Field, but he had 2 walks, 1 strikeout, and Arizona just saw him, so maybe they'll hit him better this time. So I don't really love him in this matchup here. Overall, his numbers, are not horrible. He's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. His walk rate's not that high, but his strikeout rate is really low. But he just induces a lot of soft contact. That's the way that he gets guys out, but he puts a lot of balls in the air. And even with his last outing that was good against Arizona, his numbers against them are still not good. In 20 at-bats, they have a 400 average against him, 1,028 OPS, 1 strikeout, 2 walks. I don't really trust Sugano in this outing. He will be going up against Michael Soroka, who has the better stuff. 3.49 ERA for him this year, but his whip is a bit high, 1.33. That's not very good. Soroka's been way better at home, 1.59 home ERA. I don't know why that is, because it is a hitter-friendly park, but he's better at home. He did just pitch in that Colorado series as well, and he pitched pretty well. He went 5 2/3 innings in his start. It was not in the same game as the Sugano game. I think Soroka pitched the day after that. He had 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, and gave up 2 earned runs in 5 2/3 on 6 hits. Not bad. His strikeout rate's good this year, over 1 per inning. He's allowed more than 1 hit per inning, too, though. That's not good. And his walk rate is pretty low, but he's allowed too many hits, man. That's his problem. He's been too hittable, so he needs to figure that out somehow. His numbers against Colorado are pretty good. 49 at-bats, 224 average, 657 OPS, 16-3 strikeout walk ratio. I think he has the better of the matchup here. I prefer Soroka here, even though Colorado did just see him. I just think Soroka has the better stuff. But if you want Arizona, you got to lay a huge price here. Yeah, former Brave, that is correct. Yeah, Soroka. He's been around, man. I think he was on Washington last year or something as well, and that didn't really pan out, but maybe he's in a better spot here. I think he's typically been way better at home, though, regardless of where he pitches, I think. The money is fading Arizona here, by the way. They're minus 220 at some shops here. I mean, that number does seem high, even though I think Soroka has the edge here. I think Arizona has the better bullpen. They have the better offense, too, so they do win all phases of this game, but minus 220 is definitely a high price. I think Colorado is being disrespected a bit in the market, even though they are a bad team. Arizona, you're probably reaching a point where they're kind of peaking in their market value. They're peaking in being overvalued in the market, let's say, because they've won a bunch of games in a row, So I don't think Arizona's quite that good. So maybe that's the thing, although the money actually is coming in on Arizona now. So my mistake, but they are public. 85% of tickets, 88% of the cash on them. The money is really heavily indicating on the over. 70% of tickets on the under, 87% of the cash on the over. I don't know, man. I think I would probably go, you could go Arizona over their team total maybe, because the money's coming in on the over, and if you think Arizona's going to win the game and you don't want to pay this minus 220 price or lay a run line with them or whatever, Arizona over their team total does make some sense, because they're going to be facing somewhat weak pitching here in a hitter-friendly environment, so that makes some sense to me as a way to play that game. You're going to need them to score a lot of runs, though. They probably have to score 5 runs in the game, something like that, which is, that's not too much of an ask. Final game here is my final play of the day. In the late night game here, the late night special, you might have already figured out what we're doing here. I know we have another bad bullpen here, but we're going to go under in White Sox and San Francisco here, under the 7. You could go under 3.5 first 5 if you want to. I think the starting pitching is obviously a huge factor here, but my hope in both these full game unders is that the starting pitching can get us a little bit deeper into the games and help us out with the bullpens, because we have one bad bullpen, one good bullpen in these games, but the bad bullpen in these games is also facing the much weaker offense. So I like that as well. Minnesota's is facing the Red Sox, and the White Sox are facing San Francisco. So hopefully that can help. And we have rested bullpens. So that's the other thing. The White Sox were off yesterday. They're staying on the Pacific Coast. They're coming down from Seattle. So the travel spot's not that bad for the White Sox. San Francisco is returning home from a road trip. And I generally kind of like unders when teams return home from road trips because I think it affects their hitting negatively. I think they could be distracted. I know San Francisco just got shut out in Arizona, and the rest of the road trip was in California. They were in LA, and then they were in Sacramento, not far from home, but they did go to Arizona. They've been away from home for well over a week here, so I think it's a negative spot for San Francisco here, returning home from the road. They could be distracted. They have to get back to home life, whatever. So I think that's bad. So I think that helps us out bullpen-wise here because you get rested bullpens, so the bullpens can use whoever they want. The starting pitching hopefully is going to get us deeper into the game so we can avoid that as well a little bit. White Sox bullpen hasn't been good, but they're not like the most atrocious bullpen. They're 24th, so we're going to suck it up and deal with it here. The Giants are actually pretty good. They're ranked 16th, but their ERA is decent. Their bullpen's fairly good. And then the offenses, the White Sox have been good offensively. They're 6th, but I think the pitching can counter that a little bit. And I'm not sure they're quite that good. That would be a ridiculous turnaround from last year. The Giants have been really, really bad offensively, 28th. So that helps us here. But I like the starting pitching. Davis Martin is pitching for the White Sox. He's having a shockingly good season. I don't know what the deal is here, but he's been really good. At the age of 29, somehow he flips a switch. He's got a 1.61 ERA, 0.98 whip. Now, at some point, he's going to regress a bit. I think that's inevitable because these are unsustainable numbers. But he's been really good. He gets a pitcher-friendly ballpark here, by the way, to pitch in. And I think the matchup is going to be decent for him. He's been a little bit worse on the road, but still 1.95 road ERA. Is not bad. The White Sox have won all 6 of his last 6 outings. He's allowed no more than 1 earned run in any of them. He's only allowed more than 2 once this year in his first start of the season, where he allowed 3. He's been dominating, dude. This month he has a 26-2 strikeout walk ratio, and he faced the Cubs in his last outing. That is an offense that is not bad. So that was a really good outing from him. He's got that's in 19 innings this month, 13 hits allowed. And his numbers over the course of the season are pretty similar. He's got over 1 strikeout per inning, significantly below 1 hit allowed per inning, and a low walk rate. Martin has been really good, dude. And he's going up against a lineup that isn't very intimidating. And they do have a decent OPS against him, but it's a small sample. I still think he's going to do well here. He's got 15 at-bats against them, so half of their lineup has still not even seen him before. 2 strikeouts, 4 walks. I know these numbers aren't that good. 267 batting average, 754 OPS, but it's a small sample, and he didn't face them this year, I'm pretty sure. So those numbers were in the past when Martin wasn't as good as he is right now. So I think he is going to pitch well. And he's going up against Trevor McDonald, who is having a good season for San Francisco so far. 2.37 ERA, 1 whip. He's been really good at home, 1.29 home ERA. I know he's only made 3 starts, but one of them was against the Dodgers, and he gave up 3 runs in that outing. I know he was a bit too hittable. He gave up 9 hits, but he's not facing the Dodgers here, man. I know the White Sox have hit well, but they're not the Dodgers. And his other 2 outings were good, and one of them was at the A's stadium most recently, and he shut them down. So that's a good sign that he pitched well in a very unfriendly stadium to pitchers. His other outing was against San Diego, which you can't really draw that much from that, but he pretty much dominated them. He's been good overall, though. He's got 17 strikeouts, 3 walks, 16 hits allowed in 19 innings. Those numbers are all pretty strong. So I like the way that he's started this season here. 2 of his matchups were not easy, and he got through those in pretty decent fashion. The White Sox have never faced him before, so I think that's an extra advantage to him. The pitcher should have an extra edge against a lineup that hasn't seen him before. I like this. We're going under, and the money doesn't seem to totally agree. 90% of tickets, 89% of the cash on the under, but we're going to do it. The money is also coming in on the White Sox, which I don't really disagree with that because, again, San Francisco's returning home from the road, which is not a good situation. 54% of tickets on San Francisco, 72% of the cash on the White Sox. This is taking way too long to get through the baseball board here. The White Sox are actually favored, which is crazy. The White Sox being a road favorite, that's insane. If I went White Sox, I would probably go first 5, but I don't love it because I think both starting pitchers should duel here. You might be able to get a 7.5 now. Let's take a look. We might be able to upgrade this, at least as far as getting a better number here. Let me see. The number was like somewhat teetering on 7.5. Obviously, I would prefer the 7.5. Let me see what good old Action Network has here. Yeah, I see it at a decent price at minus 118 at the Lion book with the M, and I see minus 120s at other books. So let's go under the 7.5. We'll pay for the extra. We'll pay for the hook. I think it's worth it. Minus 118, whatever. I think up to minus 120, it's worth it to get under the hook. So that makes me, I don't know, that makes me feel somewhat better as well there. But yeah, I think it's worth paying for it because 7 is a key number. When runs are going to be potentially at a premium here, that is not what I wanted to do. Hang on. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I don't know. The timer was in on that, but there you go. Under 7.5 is going to be the play there now. Although I still agree with under 7 as well. And White Sox, again, I don't see that much of a path for it. But if you go White Sox, you do not want to go full game, in my opinion, because they are at a bullpen disadvantage. So that would be the one thing I would say about that. But yeah, I agree that the White Sox are in the better spot, so I can see the argument for it. All right, but we're going under in that one. Finally, we're through with the baseball board there. I went fast the other day and I went slow today. All right, WNBA, all these games are on ION, whatever the hell that is. Dallas at Atlanta is the first game up. I considered this. I kind of like this game and the Indiana game, but I did not put either of them on my card. Atlanta's only played 3 games so far, so they're fairly rested here, but they're coming off a game against Vegas where they took their first loss. That was a big game, dude. Vegas, they're the returning champs. They're a good team. Atlanta played them really, really competitively. They lost by 1 at home, so that it could be a hangover spot for them coming off of that. And the game before that, they beat Dallas, which is who they're playing tonight. They went into Dallas and beat them, I believe, as an underdog, I want to say. So this could be a little bit of a quick revenge spot for Dallas, where Dallas might make some adjustments here. No, my mistake. Atlanta was a 1.5 point favorite in that game. But, I looked at the box score, and I'm like, were there any outliers here? The biggest outlier was the 3-point percentage. Dallas only shot 15% from 3 in the game. They only hit 4 threes. Atlanta wasn't good, 27%, but that's kind of more WNBA-ish. And they hit 9 threes. So Atlanta was plus 15 from 3-point range, and they only won by 5. So that does tell you something there. That would have me looking towards Dallas in this game. So Dallas lost to this team at home. There was a little bit of a reason there in the box score as far as why that happened. The 3-point disparity was a little bit of an outlier, in my opinion. But Atlanta did dominate the rebounds because Atlanta has Angel Reese now, man. So that's good for their rebounding. That worries me a little bit that Atlanta dominated the rebounding. Dallas is going to be like a more competitive team this year, though. Atlanta's laying 5.5 in this one, which seems maybe a little insane. I mean, I don't know. They were minus 1.5 on the road. That's indicating each home team basically has a 2-point home court advantage. I don't know. I don't know how much home court WNBA teams get. 2 seems a little high, though. So that line seems a little high to me. Dallas is coming up beating Chicago, though they just pulled off an upset 2 days ago. Or actually, they might have been a slight favorite, actually. They just beat Chicago, though, decent team on the road. Still, I like Dallas here. I don't think that's really going to set up a letdown for them. I think it's a road revenge spot for Dallas. I think Atlanta's kind of in a hangover spot coming off of what they just did. I would take the points with Dallas in this one. The money seems like it is agreeing with me here. You're getting plus 5.5 here. 92% of tickets, 93% of the cash on Dallas. I almost want to do it. I mean, maybe I've been too selective with the WNBA because a lot of my leans have been right. I like this one. I don't know. I don't know if it quite makes my card, but I mean, I know it doesn't. I'm not putting it on my card, but yeah. I think that one might be the best. That's my favorite of the WNBA plays. I think it's Dallas plus the points. Golden State at Indiana. People are going to look at this and want to take Golden State because they're 3-1. They're undefeated on the road. How is a team like that getting 6.5 points from an Indiana team that has a lesser record, right? Well, the odds makers are telling you Indiana's actually the better team here. Even though I know Golden State is improved, Golden State just upset the Liberty on the road. That was a big upset. That was last night, I believe, as well. So this spot is not good. Although Golden State had a lot of days off before that. So playing one game and then playing another game in a back-to-back, it's not the same thing that it is. The back-to-back is not the same in the WNBA as it is in the NBA because Golden State had a lot of time off before yesterday. So they shouldn't be that tired, but still, that was a huge upset win for them on the road against one of the best teams in the league, New York. They pulled off a 5.5-point upset there. So I could see this being a letdown for Golden State here. You know, they shouldn't overlook Indiana, but I think they might. And might not overlook them, but they might be in a hangover spot. Having to get up like that 2 games in a row might be difficult, you know. Indiana's just sitting around at home. They played on Wednesday. Easily beat Portland. Not really a surprise there. I like Indiana in this one, but I don't feel as strongly about this as the other one. But yeah, I like Dallas, and I like laying the points with Indiana. Golden State looks public, man. 91% of tickets, only 90% of the cash on them. Indiana laying 6.5. That's what I would do. I would lay the points with Indiana in that one. All right. And then we have the final game is the one that I have the least read on. Even though, you think but it's a zigzag. No, I don't think it is, though. Hold on. Can I get back to the schedule here? What the fuck's going on? There it is. Connecticut at Seattle. We won with Connecticut at Seattle 2 days ago or whatever. And now Seattle's laying about the same price here. So you would think, well, this should be a zigzag, right? Seattle lost the previous game to this Connecticut team. So we should zigzag this and play Seattle here, right? I don't think so. Because if you look at the box score here, I know Connecticut, they had to win on a 3-point play at the very end of the game. Like, it looked like they were going to lose. They were down 1 right at the end of the game. But Connecticut was winning the majority of the game, man. Connecticut was winning 77% of the game, and they had a 12 rebound edge. They were plus 12 in rebounds. That tells you Connecticut was the better team in the game. So I'm pretty sure my handicap was right, even though it got close at the end. Connecticut also had a big free throw disparity go against them in this game. Seattle went to the line 25 times, and they hit 11 more free throws in the game and still lost. That is not a good sign for Seattle. So Connecticut had more field goal attempts in the game. Connecticut shot terribly from the free throw line as well and still won the game. So I do not want to turn around and play Seattle here. I don't. Connecticut was the better team in the game, and in fact, they were better in the game by more than what the final score looks. So I think I actually like Connecticut again in this game, and you're getting about the same price, plus 1.5 here. I think I would lean to Connecticut again, but that's my weakest opinion in all 3 of these. I think I like Dallas plus the points the best there. Haven't added it to my card, though. I think I'm going to stay off of it, but, maybe I'm being too selective. And, of course, I'm going to be pissed when my baseball totals lose and then that stuff wins. Dude, baseball, I just never feel that confident about it. And baseball has been going well this season, so I don't know. Hopefully it continues. All right, we have hockey. We have the Western Conference Finals, Vegas and Colorado. Colorado's at home. They're the better team. Obviously, they do not want to go down 0-2 here and have to go to Vegas because Vegas is better at home, although they're, whatever. Brent Burns here, great, with all of his teeth missing. That is a crazy picture there. Anyway, Colorado lost, obviously, 4-2 here. So you would think, well, this is going to be a bounce back. They're the better team. They're at home. They know they can't go down 0-2. Yeah, I agree with all that. I'm going to lean Colorado slightly here, but I got some issues with it. If you look at what happened in this game, the final score wasn't that misleading. There was an empty net goal at the end. Vegas was out to a 3-0 lead early. They did score a power play goal. Colorado also scored a power play goal. So if you take those and the empty net goal away, it was, 2-1 Vegas, I think would have been the score. Colorado outshot Vegas, so they did have more scoring opportunities. So, yeah, that would be an indicator towards playing Colorado here because that means the score was a little bit misleading. So, yeah, I agree with that. But Vegas out-physicaled Colorado, and that worries me a little bit with playing Colorado here, that Vegas had more hits, and they won a large percentage of the face-offs, 57%. So it's kind of weird that Colorado had more offensive possession. It looks like usually the team that wins the face-offs, that's going to lead to more offensive possessions, but whatever. So I got some concerns with it. I also am concerned with Colorado laying a huge price here, although it's similar to what they were laying in the first game. I lean Colorado, but it's not going to make my card. And then, of course, I did point out, the regular season, I think Vegas split the regular season series with Colorado or whatever. But I did point out that Colorado was better. Or actually, I think let me look. I'm going to look real quick because I forget. Hold on. No, Colorado was 2-1, my mistake. But I looked into it, and Colorado, they were the better team in the first two games. And then the last game was when Colorado already had the number one seed wrapped up. I think the one that Vegas actually won was a meaningless game for Colorado. So Colorado is still the better team. I kind of still expect them to win the series, but that when I filled out my bracket, I had Vegas winning this series because I thought there was actually a little bit of value there. The money is coming in on Colorado a little bit here, 89% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them. You're going to have to do like a split bet if you want Colorado, partially on the puck line, partially on the money line, like make your own -1 puck line here. That's what I would do, but it's not going to make my card. And then the under is getting some action as well. The total's at 6, juice to the over. Obviously, I don't want to do that. I'm worried about the empty nets. The first game landed exactly 6, although it's because there was an empty net. The first game definitely should have gone under, but I don't like the under as much now, right? Like, I liked the under in that first game because Colorado had more of a layoff, but now these teams just played 2 days ago, so I think that impacts the defenses more negatively, So we'll see what happens. But Vegas, they're riding the hot hand with Carter Hart in net, man. The guy who I think was kind of falsely accused of that stuff that he was accused of. But whatever. Hart has been really good throughout the playoffs. But that doesn't mean it's going to continue. But sometimes teams, they get a hot goalie and they just ride that hot goalie. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on that. But I don't want to play it. And I'm also not going to have a play in the NBA game, which is Oklahoma City, San Antonio. They're playing with just 1 day off here. I think a lot of times in the NBA, you'll see 2 days off when the teams are switching venues. But I think because Oklahoma City and San Antonio are not that far distance-wise, I think they just were like, whatever, 1 day off, get the series done. So this is at San Antonio. Oklahoma City evened up the series with a win in Game 2. San Antonio did win 4 out of the 5 regular season matchups. So one of them was the Cup, where I'm not sure if OKC cared that much about the Cup. I think there was one other game where I forget. There might have been one other game that didn't really matter as much, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I think there was one game where Oklahoma City didn't play their starters or something, but I forget. That might be wrong. This game is going to be really, really hard to predict, though, because of the injury situations here. So San Antonio, De'Aaron Fox hasn't played yet in the series. He's been a game-time decision both games so far, but they decided to not play him. I think he's going to come back here now that the series is even, and they kind of need him because San Antonio has been using Castle as a point guard. It hasn't worked out well, even though I don't really even think San Antonio has like a true point guard, which is kind of a problem. But I think Fox will return here, especially because Dylan Harper is hurt now. He's listed as a game-time decision, but he got hurt in the third quarter, I think, of the last game. And I don't know, from what I could tell, it didn't look great. So I think Harper is probably going to miss this game, would be my guess. I think Fox probably will come back, especially because San Antonio needs guard play, man. And if they're going to lose Harper, they got to bring Fox back. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't played yet in the series. But because San Antonio is going to do that shake-up, grab a brush and put on a little makeup, I don't know if I like that, really. Like, I think that's going to be a bit of a chemistry problem. You know what I mean? Like, whenever a key player comes back, that can mess with your chemistry a little bit, even though I would say that when you have an injured player go down, a lot of times the team plays harder. But if Fox is coming back into the lineup and he's a key piece of the lineup, I think that's going to be negative for San Antonio's chemistry. So that's a little bit of an issue. San Antonio, by the way, is very good at home, 32-8. Oklahoma City was good on the road, 30-10, but they're better at home. Still really good on the road, but San Antonio is better at home. So there is a bit of a home advantage here for San Antonio. And speaking of injuries, Jalen Williams got hurt again for Oklahoma City. He tweaked his hamstring, which is not good. He is one of their key pieces, even though I know Oklahoma City is a really deep team, which I think is going to help them out because you know how San Antonio played their guys in that first game, the double overtime game. San Antonio played their guys a lot of minutes, dude. So Oklahoma City might wind up winning this series just because they have more depth. That might wind up being the difference where they're going to be not as tired later in the series here. Jalen Williams, I don't know if he's going to play or not, dude. OKC might not play him because they are able to overcome that injury. They use, I think AJ Mitchell is his name. I think they use him more in place of Williams, and he's been pretty good. But Mitchell also got hurt near the end of that game. He landed weird on his leg. It looked like a hamstring thing as well. He had a weird issue there, but I think he stayed in the game, and he's not on the injury report, so I think he's probably going to be in the game here. But I would expect, if I was going to guess, I think Jalen Williams will miss this game. I think Harper is going to miss the game for San Antonio, and I think Fox will come back. That would be my guess, but who really knows? So that makes this game a little bit difficult to handicap. So I'm not going to play the game. If we try to find any, outliers in the previous game, what happened in this game, OKC was the better team in the game for the most part. There weren't really too many outliers here. The teams were similar in shooting percentages, pretty similar from 3-point range. Not a huge free throw disparity. San Antonio did have 21 turnovers, though. So that's kind of the one big reason they lost the game was because of the turnovers, which gave OKC a lot more field goal attempts in the game. So San Antonio might be able to clean that up. But again, I told you they don't really have an actual ball distributor here, so I don't know. But I don't expect San Antonio to be negative 11 in the turnover department again at home. So I think they might be able to fix that. And San Antonio did out-rebound OKC again, but they out-rebounded OKC by 21 in the first game, and in game 2 it was only by 4. So Oklahoma City is figuring some things out here, man. They're figuring out what to do against Wemby. Here's the thing. Chet Holmgren cannot match up against Wemby. Oklahoma City should know that based on what happened during the regular season. Holmgren had huge issues with Wemby. Oklahoma City needs to not use him against Wemby. And finally, Oklahoma City found an answer with Hartenstein. They used him in the game. That's what they needed to do. He looked good in the game. It seems like he's a better matchup for Oklahoma City against Wemby. Nobody can really match up against Wemby, but Hartenstein, however you pronounce his name, he obviously is the better approach for Oklahoma City. They cannot use Holmgren against him. So those are my thoughts on it. As far as the market in this game, money is indicating towards OKC, believe it or not. The public is leaning towards the Spurs because, again, the Spurs are flashy, The public loves Wemby, but SGA, he's doing some things that not many people have done, scoring-wise. So, I don't know. He seems like he's just going under the radar now. 61% of tickets on San Antonio, 60% of the cash. San Antonio is a 1.5, 2-point favorite here, which to me that seems like really a bit of an over-adjustment because if Oklahoma City was 6.5 at home, this line should be a little bit closer to a pick'em, I think, like a 1-point favorite maybe, one way or the other. So I think there might be a little bit of line value maybe taking OKC as a dog here. I know San Antonio seems to have some matchup edges here, but, also it's hard to predict because we don't know who's playing. The money is indicating towards the over as well. 78% of tickets on the under, 75% of the cash on the under. Game 2, I'm pretty sure, did go over, but I wouldn't necessarily disagree with the over, although the total is up already to 218.5, which I think is higher than where it was in the last couple of games. So I don't really want to do that either. But because these teams are unrested and they only have 1 day off between these two games as well, they're playing 3 games in 5 days here. An over makes more sense in a setup like this. So those are my thoughts on it. I don't really have good opinions here. And then, there is the thing swirling around about if you saw SGA's post-game interview at the end of Game 2, people think that he insulted Hartenstein, but I think he didn't understand what he was being asked. Because he couldn't hear, the reporter asked him, the first question she asked him, he had to ask her to repeat the question because he didn't know what she said. So I think he just couldn't hear her that well because everybody was being loud and whatever. Maybe he has a hearing loss. He has tinnitus from going to 311 like me. But people were saying, he was asked this other question about Hartenstein, and I don't know, he said something to the effect of, we need to do better or something like that. And people thought that he was saying that about Hartenstein, but I think he didn't understand the question. I think he was saying in general that they need to do better as a team. So I think it's a non-issue. I don't know why people are talking about that. I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's really just a matter of he's just, you just talk to your teammate. You good, bro? Yeah, all right. Not a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. You need to have the narratives, right? You need to have the drama. That's what sells, man. But that's going to do it. My plays today are 3 baseball totals. We're going over 9.5 in Cardinals-Reds, under 7.5 in Twins-Red Sox, and hopefully we dodge the Minnesota bullpen. And the under 7.5 in White Sox and Giants as well. I almost said 49ers. If you want to go first 5 on those 2 unders, you can. I don't disagree with that either. But those are my plays. I like that we get the hook on the 7.5 at least, so I like that number a little bit better. Hopefully the starters can get us a little bit deeper into the game, and we can avoid the bullpens a little bit there. But that's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Helps me out. You can subscribe to me there. Learn to Toad on Instagram for short-form content here. Like and subscribe to this channel here. Let's boost it. We're obviously really hot right now, as you can see there. I don't even really believe it, but I'm going to do my best to try to keep it going. Hopefully we can. I'm going to be pissed when my WNBA lean comes through, but I don't know, man. I'm being super selective, so we'll see. What else do we got here? We're on audio. You can listen to the show on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. That helps me out. Covered in uke on YouTube. You can check that out. I've been doing some more uke covers. I got to put my recent one up there. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You can subscribe there. I will try to get to some requests that you have for uke stuff. I have one that's in the pipeline for one of the guys that subscribes to me. It'll be, I think, the 3rd one that I've done for him. Charles, I'm going to have to get to some of yours as well. I got to figure something out. Charles is out there somewhere. But yes, Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You get a bonus uke feed there as well. What else do I have to plug? Loser Cast every Tuesday night and the Giants G-Spot podcast. That's going to do it. Thanks, everybody. Happy weekend. Let's kick off the weekend right. The last couple weekends have been really good for us. I think we did have one bad Friday in the mix there, but we'll see. I want to continue it, man, as best as we can. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.